Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the July 9th, 2013 meeting of the Downers Grove Village Council. It is my privilege to call this meeting to order. There are copies of our agenda, it looks like this, on either side of the room. If you haven't already done so, feel free to avail yourself of picking up a copy and following along with our proceedings tonight. There will be multiple opportunities for public comment, both with respect to items that are on our agenda as well as items that are not on our agenda. That will be item 4, which is reserved for public comment on matters of a general nature. It is our custom to begin each of our meetings by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. So at this point, I would like to ask everyone in the audience to please rise and join us in reciting the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would now like to ask our fine village clerk, April Holden, to call the roll.
Commissioner Jose?
Here.
Commissioner Olson?
Here.
Commissioner Rankin?
Here.
Commissioner Barnett?
Here.
Commissioner Neustadt?
Here.
Commissioner Durkin?
Here.
Mayor Tully?
Here. Thank you very much. It brings us to item 3, which involves approval of minutes of prior council meetings. We have 2 sets of meetings on our agenda tonight. One, our executive session minutes for approval only from our June 18th, 2013 executive session meeting. And the second set are our minutes from our last regular council meeting on July 2nd, 2013. Heads up, I will be abstaining from the vote on the second one since I was in San Diego. My apologies. Any questions, comments, changes, or corrections to either set of minutes? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those minutes are approved with 1 abstention. And now it brings us to the much-promised public comment section of tonight's meeting, in which we entertain comments of a general nature with respect to matters that are not appearing on tonight's agenda. If there are any members of our audience who would like to come down and address the council, the protocol is to please come down to the podium, give us your name and address, and please share with us what is on your mind. Do we have any public comments of a general nature? Hearing none, we'll move right along to item 5, which are council member reports. And we have 2 items under council member reports. Actually, I think we're going to have 3 items under council member reports. And given this very handsome-looking audience that we have, I'm going to suggest that we start with the police and fire department awards, and then we go to council member reports and items of that nature, if that makes sense to everyone. So with that, I would invite Chief Porter, Chief Jackson, and myself down for the presentation of the Police Department and Fire Department Awards, and want to thank everyone for being here to be part of it. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This evening we wanted to take a few minutes to publicly recognize several individuals who we felt went above and beyond to assist your public safety departments in various capacities. So at this point I'm going to turn it over to the chairman of our Awards Accommodations Committee, Officer Larry Vacala, and Larry's going to read the awards. So Mayor, if you wouldn't mind joining me up front.
Good evening. I'd like to call forward Ms. Sean Pittman, first to get an award for a certificate of recognition. On December 26, 2012, at 2:59 p.m., Ms. Pittman, who was a route carrier for the U.S. Postal Service, noticed a considerable amount of mail collecting at her residence and also noted a poor condition of a house here in Downers Grove. Ms. Pittman took the effort to make contact with the resident with negative results. Ms. Pittman took the initiative to contact Downers Grove Police Department and have officers respond. Officers were forced to make entry into the residence and discovered that the resident of the house was living in deplorable conditions and had no working heat at the house. The resident also had not eaten in days and appeared to be extremely malnourished. If not for Ms. Pittman's intervention, the victim may have perished inside the home. The victim was transported to the hospital and provided with referrals to social services to assist him. Ms. Pittman went above and beyond her duties as a mail carrier to intervene in an obvious serious situation. It is because of her actions that Ms. Pittman is awarded a certificate of recognition from the Downers Grove Police Department. I would now like to call forward Susan Lawrence. On September 7th, 2012, at 1:32 p.m., Susan Lawrence had observed suspicious activity and called 911 after suspecting that two men approaching her neighbor's back door were there to burglarize the residence. Ms. Lawrence did not know that her neighbor was inside by herself with her young children. Ms. Lawrence confronted the two men and inquired why they were at the residence. The two men, in turn, immediately left as Ms. Lawrence continued to relay information to dispatch when she called 911. It was determined later that the two men were indeed there to burglarize the residence, and Ms. Lawrence's actions not only prevented the burglary, but possibly a situation that could have escalated into a more serious crime. Several residential burglaries were closed with the arrest of the two subjects that were confronted by Ms. Lawrence. It is because of her selfless act and courage in confronting the two would-be burglars that Susan Lawrence is awarded a commendatory certificate by the Downers Grove Police Department. I would like to now call forward Petty Officers Patrick Burke, Sean Murphy, and David Runyon from the U.S. Naval Recruiter's Office here in Downers Grove. On June 11, 2012, at approximately 7 p.m., U.S. Naval Recruiters Petty Officer Patrick Burke, Sean Murphy, and David Runyon were sitting in the recruiting office in the Green Knoll Shopping Plaza when they noticed a smell of smoke in their office. Patrick Burke noted that the smell seemed to be coming from the ceiling area. Burke decided to lift the ceiling tile to see what was going on and observed two subjects in a storage room next to the office ingesting drugs. Recruiter Burke got down and had Recruiter Runyon dial 911 and provide a description of the offenders to the VOC as officers were en route. Recruiter Burke observed the subjects trying to leave, so all three recruiters confronted the subjects and had a conversation with them to delay them until officers arrived. Downers Grove Police Department officers still had not arrived on scene, and the offenders were beginning to flee in a vehicle, which the recruiters were able to provide the police department with the description as well as the license plate number. Officers subsequently stopped the vehicle in the parking lot, recovering several grams of heroin, as well as some items that were stolen from the storage facility. It is because of the recruiters' actions that these offenders were apprehended and charged with burglary as well as unlawful possession of controlled substance. Petty Officers Patrick Burke, Sean Murphy, and David Runyon went out of their way to provide officers with the necessary information needed to apprehend these two subjects. They may have continued to become a threat to our community if not for their intervention. It is because of their action, each one of them is being recognized with a commendatory certificate from the Downers Grove Police Department. And lastly, I'd like to call forward Brian George. On June 17, 2012, at approximately 6:40 p.m., officers were dispatched to a location for a subject that was unresponsive and laying at the bottom of a swimming pool. Upon arrival by Officer Kachava, he observed that Brian George was holding a combative victim up and restraining him from drowning himself. It was learned that the victim attempted to commit suicide by drowning himself in the swimming pool. Brian George entered the swimming pool and rescued the victim from the bottom of the pool and brought him back to the surface so he could breathe. If it wasn't for the quick action of Brian George, it is believed that the victim would have drowned. Mr. George also assisted the officers and paramedics with getting the victim out of the pool and transported to the hospital. Citizen Brian George disregarded his own personal safety to enter the swimming pool and rescue the victim who was resisting him. It is because of that that Brian George is awarded our life-saving award. I'd now like to call forward Mary Winterstrom to present an award from the police department and the fire department.
This next award is, whoops. Make sure I'm on here. This next award is presented on behalf of both the fire department and the police department. Can I please have Troop 181 step forward? All members are welcome. We present this partnership award to Boy Scout Troop 181. Over the years, this Boy Scout troop has assisted with Night at the Firehouse open house and the annual Passport to Safety event. They have conducted color guard presentations, assisted with parking and traffic, served refreshments, dressed as Sparky and McGruff, and last but not least, they have always helped with the cleanup at the conclusion of our events. Here to receive the award is Troop 181. Hawken Fredrickson will accept the plaque. Troop 181, we appreciate all that you do for us and the citizens in our community.
All right. Thank you, Chief Porter. Good evening, Mayor and Council. As the Downers Grove Fire Department is fortunate to have partners such as the Boy Scout Troop who have done a lot of things in safety and assistance to the community, and we appreciate that. We also have others that have also stepped up and done selflessness things to help save lives before we arrive on the scene. So I'm proud to be able to personally thank and recognize the efforts of several of these partners we have here tonight. So if I can have Marcia Giesler please step forward, and the Mayor, if you join me again, we'll step up front, and we'll do the fire department portion of the awards.
Good evening. I would like to ask Ms. Cynthia Ivey to come forward, and she is representing the residents in Chicago Lombard by Marriott. The scene of a fire can be chaotic, confusing, and devastating. For a homeowner, it can be one of the worst days of their lives. Trying to figure out what to do first is a daunting prospect, especially when your world has just turned upside down. What do you do if you don't have friends nearby or relatives? And it has been determined that you cannot move back into your home that night. Many people have never even thought about this. For more than 10 years, the residents in Chicago Lombard by Marriott has partnered with the Downers Grove Fire Department and offered a free night's lodging for the victims of residential fires. This generous service includes lodging for the entire family and their pets, access to the internet, and full use of kitchenettes and a continental breakfast. The Downers Grove Fire Department is very grateful to the Marriott for partnering with us to assist our residents in their time of need. We thank you for your continued goodwill and a strong sense of community. Thank you. Next, I would like to ask Brendan Harrison and his family to step forward, or just Brendan by himself, which is fantastic. Okay, on March 10th, 2013, at 1:20 in the morning, 14-year-old Brendan Harrison was awakened by the sound of crackling in the kitchen of his family's home. He insisted that his mother get out of bed to check on the noise. Mrs. Harrison opened her bedroom door to notice an orange glow and knew that she had a fire in her house. Mr. Harrison quickly removed the burning humidifier to the outside. Brendan had alerted his family so very early on that the humidifier hadn't even generated enough smoke to activate the smoke alarms. Due to Brendan's insistence, his entire family was alerted, escaped, and waited outside for the fire department to check on the house for any further danger. Brendan's actions are especially noteworthy since his autism often makes it difficult to communicate with others, and his mother tells us he is very much afraid of fire. So even in the face of all of these things, Brendan did everything the fire department would want anyone to do. Congratulations, Brendan. What a special night. Next, I would like to ask Maria Brutus to please come forward. On Saturday, May 18th, 2013, Downers Grove paramedics were dispatched to the Bohemian Garden restaurant for a subject with shortness of breath. The patient actually had a partial to complete airway obstruction while eating. Maria tells us that a busboy found him in the bathroom and started yelling, "Maria, Maria, please come quickly." Maria is an employee of the restaurant and a nursing student at St. Xavier University. She jumped into action and physically removed the obstruction from the patient's mouth. According to the Downers Grove paramedics, they arrived to assess the patient, who is now fully able to breathe on his own. Thank you to Maria for truly acting as the first responder in this incident. Thank you. All right. Would the following people please come to the front? Stephen Delano, Svetlana Kapala, Jeffrey Rowe, Jennifer Hegaton, Ryan Stannis, Edward Benderitis, David Rowe, Jeffrey Bauman, Patricia Margavero, Evelyn Spencer, and/or Danielle Green. These people are all employees of the Downers Grove Health and Wellness Center. On January 24th, 2013, at approximately 6:30 p.m., the Downers Grove paramedics were called to the Good Sam Health and Wellness Center for a man down with an AED already in use. Personnel on the scene stated that the patient had fallen and become unresponsive and pulseless. These members of the Good Samaritan Health and Wellness Center staff called 911, assessed the patient, placed him on an AED, and began CPR, which lasted for approximately 1 minute. Due to their training and coordinated efforts, the patient began spontaneous respirations and became responsive and alert. The paramedics then arrived and were able to transfer a viable patient to the emergency room for further care. And before you clap, I would like to tell you that the person whose life they basically saved is here with us tonight, and that is probably a bigger reward than anything we can give you. And that is Mike, and his wife, Lois, is just as happy as can be. Okay? Some of these people actually had to work tonight. For all we know, they're reviving someone else. So we'll give you all the certificates, and you can take those back to them. Okay. Oop, picture. Lori did tell me they may hang that near the AED at the Wellness Center. Okay. One more, and this also is for the Downers Grove Health and Wellness Center staff. Erin Holland, Kirsten Connor, Kathleen Baldwin, Jennifer Hagerton, go back up there, and Jeffrey Rowe. Okay. On October 13th, 2012, at approximately 10:15 a.m., the Downers Grove Fire Department was called for a patient at the Good Samaritan Health and Wellness Center, and bystanders reported that the patient was on the treadmill when he suddenly collapsed to the floor and became unresponsive. These Wellness Center staff members activated the EMS system, applied an AED 1 minute after the patient had collapsed, and provided CPR. Due to their training and coordinated efforts, the patient began breathing on his own. The paramedics then transferred a viable patient to the emergency room for further care. And I believe their patient is here to support them tonight also. Rick and his wife, Kathy, I believe. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. You got to ding the deputy chief here. Thank you.
You know, tonight you witness a tradition that recognizes citizens who performed acts of selflessness and helped others in the time of need. But before we conclude, I'd like to touch base a little bit about traditions and fire service traditions. One of the most important things in a firefighter's career is the value placed on tradition. Traditions are customs or practices that are passed from one generation to the next. So as every one of us has been touched by at least one tradition. Many are family-oriented, like the holiday celebrations or even the family reunions. In the fire service, we have many traditions as well. From the patch on our shoulder, to the badge pinning ceremony, or the bagpipes being played at a fallen firefighter's funeral. These are just to name a few. From the moment a new firefighter is taken into the department family, they are introduced to fire service traditions. These customs are very symbolic, and they represent the meaning of becoming a firefighter, their service to the community, and being part of another family, a brotherhood that is a fire service. Tonight I'd like to discuss a few of our traditions that we have in the fire department. Let's start with the badge. The badge is presented to a new firefighter as a symbol of the public's faith and trust in us. The firefighter who wears the badge is willing to sacrifice their lives for others, just as the Crusaders sacrificed their lives for their fellow man so many years ago. Some of the traditions we have today come from previous generations of firefighters. A tradition of pushing of the fire truck comes from an age-old practice of firemen pushing their hose wagons and pumps into the fire barns once a fire was out. So they unhooked the wagons and they unhooked the horses and they got them fed. We continued that practice within the fire department. When Station 2 was opened for the first time back in 2008, the firefighters pushed the antique fire engine into the bay before the other apparatus. This was the symbol to our past, present, and future firefighters that duty, pride, and tradition continue within each of us. And even though we move into a modern world, we still have traditions of our founding brothers firefighters. If it wasn't for those firefighters that came before us, we would not be here where we are today. The most important tradition is the honor of the firefighter's retirement. When a firefighter retires, we memorialize that firefighter the duty and service to the community. Each firefighter that comes on the job makes his mark on the department. One way or another, that firefighter has made a difference, whether it's saving someone's life or teaching fire safety in our schools to our children. That firefighter made a difference. So we honor that firefighter for his many years of service, commitment, and dedication to the community. We have retirement celebration on their last day of the job. Everybody's invited. Family, friends, fellow firefighters, the community, and everyone, just because we want to thank them for the sacrifice they made throughout the years. The Fire Department Honor Guard raises the American flag in the morning of their last shift in their honor. And the Fire Honor Guard lowers a flag at the end of the shift and presents it to a retiring firefighter as a token of appreciation from the community for their dedication and sacrifice. The last tradition I'd like to share with you is a tradition of respect to our fallen firefighters. We recently laid to rest a retired brother firefighter after his long battle with cancer. He was one that made a difference in many lives and in my life and my career. He mentored me in the rescue field where I learned valuable rescue techniques which I passed on. We honored him with a firefighter's funeral as a way to thank him for what he has done to the fire service and to the community. During his ceremony, like all other firefighter funerals, we followed a traditional custom ringing of the bells. Throughout most of history, a firefighter life has been closely associated to the ringing of the bells. As they begin their hours of duty, it was the bell that started them off. Throughout the day and the night, each alarm was sounded by a bell, which was called to fight fires and to place their lives in jeopardy for the good of their fellow citizen. When the fire was out and the alarm had come to an end, the bell rang 3 times to signal the end. Our brother, who passed away, completed his task. His duty's well done, and we rang that bell 3 times in the memory of and in tribute to his life and service in the fire department and to the community. These are just a few of the many traditions that we have in the fire department and in the fire service. So when you hear the sirens and see the firefighters, you'll know a little bit more about what the firefighters represent: duty, pride, and tradition. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief. Wow, very impressive. Thank you for those presentations, and more importantly, thank you to everyone who was recognized here tonight for some outstanding acts, selfless acts that really go to the core of why we think this is such a great community, because it's the people who are living and working and helping their neighbors and their friends and even strangers on a day-to-day basis. So on behalf of all of us, thank you very much for everything that you've done. And you're welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting. We have some important community announcements. Nobody took me up on my invitation. Thank you very much. Good evening. All right, we will continue with part 2 of item 5 on our agenda tonight, which are council member reports. And I think that tonight we will start with Commissioner Jose.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to start by saying it was truly humbling to watch the presentations tonight. It's obvious that we have a lot of great people in Downers Grove, and thank you to all of them for their service. I had the opportunity this weekend to ride along with the Downers Grove Police Department. I spent Saturday night and a Sunday morning with Officer Kevin Dara. I was struck by the professionalism and the dedication that he showed and that all the officers throughout the department show. It was amazing to me that his ability to multitask and perceive things in an instant that the average resident does not pick up on. Especially as someone who hasn't pulled an all-nighter since college, I was amazed at his ability to do all of this at night, and he said he'd been working the night shift for most of the last 9 years. So I wanted to give a thank you to Officer Dara, to Chief Porter for helping to set up the ride-along, and to the entire Downers Grove Police Department for their dedication and making sure that we all stay as safe as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Olson?
I also had the opportunity to visit one of our public safety units. I visited the fire department yesterday and had the opportunity to spend the evening with Chief Jackson and many officers from throughout the stations. I was able to visit each station in Downers Grove, stations 1, 2, 3, and 5. And we even went and took a look at the old Station 4. So it was a great opportunity, and thank the fire department for allowing me that opportunity. And I look forward to coming back because going to all those different places, I hardly got to stay at one for any length of time, even though I was there for 5 hours. The time just flew by. But it is a great group of public safety staff we have in this community, and I thank them for their dedication. Did want to point out, we have a card here. The dedication of Midwestern University's clinical campus is going to occur next Tuesday before this council meeting, 5 p.m., and that new campus is at 3450 Lacey Road. So I think we're really excited here on the council, and I know the residents of Downers Grove are excited to welcome this addition to Midwestern University and the services that they're going to provide at this new clinical campus to the residents and to students from all over the country and all over the world. So I think that should be an exciting opportunity next Tuesday, 5 to 7, at the clinic at 3450 Lacey. So
Very good.
thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Rankin?
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Barnett?
No report, Mayor.
Commissioner Durkin?
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Commissioner Olson had mentioned, the Downers Grove entire community is invited to learn more about the Midwestern University Clinical Campus and Multi-Specialty Clinic at a special dedication event on July 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. This clinic is located, as Commissioner Olson had stated, 3450 Lacey Road in Downers Grove. The event will include refreshments and guided tours of the state-of-the-art facility. Midwestern University Clinical Campus is more than $113 million community investment designed to bring high-quality, affordable health care to DuPage County and the surrounding areas. The multi-specialty clinic features fully licensed practitioners and graduate-level students who work together to provide a wide range of health care. The state-of-the-art Dental Institute has already begun treating patients and offers high-quality dental care at about half the cost. The clinic will also include a family medicine practice, speech-language clinic, optometry services, and other health services. For more information about the multi-specialty clinic, please call 630-743-4500, or you can visit them online at www.mwuclinic.com, or abbreviation for MidwesternUniversityClinic.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Newstead?
I have no report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. For my report, I just want to comment on two things. First of all, I want to thank everyone who came out for the Independence Day Parade. We had some, I think, almost unprecedented weather given past years when we either had sultry, sauntering, sweltering heat, or we had violent storms, and it was perfect parade weather. And I was glad to see so many people, friends and neighbors, who came out for the parade. It was a very nice occasion, and speaking of a tradition, a great tradition here in Downers Grove. The other thing I want to mention is on a far more somber note, and that is, unfortunately, Downers Grove recently lost one of its true public servants. Don Eckman recently lost his battle with cancer. In fact, on the 4th of July, he left us, and I had the distinct privilege of getting to know Don over the years as a commissioner and then later as mayor. Don was a terrific, dedicated, selfless, tireless public servant. He served with great passion and dedication on our Stormwater Floodplain Oversight Commission, and also served as president and in other roles with respect to the Downers Grove Sanitary District. He did that for many, many years. In fact, as long as I knew Don, he was serving in some public role, trying to do what we all do, which is to make our community a little bit better. And I know that he and his family can take great pride and heart in knowing that he will be remembered for all that he contributed to our community. And he and his wife Arlene and his family are in our thoughts and prayers. In his private life, Don was an accomplished engineer and really had a terrific run. He was a private man in the sense that when I saw him in March of this year, I had no idea what he was facing. So he's going to be dearly missed, and we want to thank his family and relatives for sharing him with us for those many years and having left Downers Grove a better place than he found it. That's all I have for my report. That brings us, or my report out, excuse me, that brings us then to item 6, public hearings. We have no public hearings tonight, so we go right to item 7, which is our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments on any of the items on the consent agenda from any members of the audience? Any questions or comments from any members of the Village Council with respect to any of the items on the consent agenda? Commissioner Jose?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick comment on the portion of the consent agenda that has to do with the SSA for the Fairview Fire Protection District. Glad to see this moving forward. As I'm sure everybody here on the dais knows, and for those out in the audience, for a number of years, Downers Grove has provided emergency services to an unincorporated area without receiving the full cost of that service from the area because they were unable to due to property tax caps, and this will help fill that gap and allow us to keep providing service to that area and receive in return the full cost of that. So they'll be paying no more than an incorporated resident of the village. I think it's a great result. I'm glad that staff was able to shepherd this forward over the last few years. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions or comments on any of these items from any members of the council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Neustadt?
Aye.
Commissioner Durkin?
Aye.
Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnett?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye. The consent agenda passes unanimously. On item 8 of our agenda, our active agenda, we have one item, and that is item 8A as in Apple. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance that would approve a plan development amendment to plan development number 24, Fairmont Village, Roman numeral 2, to allow the construction of 2 7-unit townhome buildings at 950 75th Street?
Mayor Tully, I move to adopt an ordinance approving a plan development amendment to plan development number 24, Fairmont Village 2, to allow the construction of 2 7-unit townhome buildings at 950 75th Street as presented.
Second.
Any questions or comments from any members of the audience with respect to this item? Questions or comments from members of the Village Council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Neustadt?
Aye.
Commissioner Durkin?
Aye.
Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnett?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye. That matter passes unanimously, which brings us to the end of our active agenda. We are going to fly right by item 9, our first reading, because we have no first reading items tonight, and move right on to the mayor's report. And I have 2 things I want to share very briefly. The first and most important of which is we're talking about community volunteers and people who contribute and make Downers Grove a better place to be. And you can find lots of those people serving on our various boards and commissions here in Downers Grove. We have a variety of different boards and commissions that study different matters, conduct hearings, take resident input, give a lot of time, effort, and thought to different issues, and make recommendations to this village council. And while we may not always agree with everything that they recommend, the value of their contributions and their recommendations and their input and thought processes are extraordinary. Many of those of us up here at one time or another have served on boards and commissions in this community and understand and appreciate what goes into it. It truly is a thankless task, and we have one appointment tonight that we'd like to make to fill a vacancy on the Plan Commission that was shamelessly created when Commissioner Jose had the audacity to get elected to the Village Council and create that vacancy. So we are appointing someone tonight to fill that spot for the remainder of the unexpired term. I want to thank Commissioner Jose for assisting with the identification and interviewing of his successor in that regard. And after we have the motion read and we have a second, then I would invite Commissioner Jose to perhaps share some comments with the rest of the council about our new appointee, Mr. Donald Rickard. So, April, if you would do us the favor, please.
A resolution appointing Donald Rickard to the Plan Commission. Whereas Mayor Tully has appointed Donald Rickard to the Plan Commission, now therefore be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Downers Grove does hereby confirm the appointment of Donald Rickard for a 1-year term expiring August 31, 2014.
Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments from any members of the audience? And we'll give Mr. Rickard an opportunity to comment if he would like in a moment, but if there are no other comments from others, Commissioner Jose?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank everybody for indulging me on this because you've heard from several people tonight, and many of them are me. Mr. Rickard is the managing architect with Millard Company in Bridgeview, has worked on projects here in the village and throughout the Chicagoland area. He, prior to moving to Downers Grove, lived in Romeoville and served on the Plan Commission there for a number of years, in fact, since 1990. And he was chairman of the Plan Commission for about 15 years. He brings with him that experience as well as the experience during that time of going through comprehensive plan rewrites, zoning code rewrites. And when I saw that experience and got to talk with him about that experience, it obviously, because we're going through some of those same things now, really spoke to me. And I want to thank him for jumping right in and getting involved in the community. It's a great community, and I think he's going to enjoy his time on the Plan Commission. I know I did. It's a great group. And thanks again for getting involved, and thank you to all the candidates who were interested in joining the Plan Commission. We really have a lot of great, intelligent, dedicated people here in town. And I know as time goes on, we'll get more and more of them involved on different boards and commissions, and we've got a great one here tonight. So thank you, Mayor.
Well, thank you for the assistance, Commissioner, and thank you for those comments. Any other questions or comments from any members of the Village Council with respect to the proposed appointment? No obligation, but after the vote, if Don, you'd like to step up and say something, you're welcome. But again, no obligation whatsoever. So with that, I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Neustadt?
Aye.
Commissioner Durkin?
Aye.
Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnett?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye. Congratulations, you're now part of the club. We'll get you busy right away. Don't worry about that. Obviously, the Plan Commission rarely has a dull meeting. Any other questions or comments from any members of the audience with respect to this item? Then I'll move to the second thing that I wanted to share tonight. As I mentioned at the outset of the meeting, last week's meeting I missed because my family and I were in San Diego. I was there partly for business and partly for pleasure. I want to thank Commissioner Mayor Pro Tem Neustadt for capably handling the meeting in my absence. I did take advantage of listening to the podcast on the flight back. Having Wi-Fi on board is the best thing in the world. And I know how geeky that sounds that I actually listened to the podcast of our meeting on the flight back. But I did, and there was one statement from a member during public comments that I just wanted to briefly speak about so that my colleagues have the benefit of the context. There was a gentleman named Richard McMahon who spoke about the mobile station at 63rd and Belmont, and he expressed some frustration, at least as I took it from the comments that were made during the podcast about our not being responsive and not willing to change our liquor ordinance in, as he couched it, so as to not harm other businesses that are already in town, that this was anti-American and protectionist by some way. If I'd been here, I would have shared this with you at that time, but I wasn't. Two things. First of all, Mr. McMahon and I had spoken many times prior to his appearance that night, and I was very surprised that he did not contact me before he came and made those comments. His main request is that we create a new category for the ability to sell liquor at convenience stores that we don't currently have, convenience stores that are part of gas stations. That is not currently provided for in our ordinance, so he's been asking about whether he would do something like that. For many different reasons, the assessment has been that there isn't any burning desire to do that. There was also a request that I made of Mr. Casa that he speak with Mr. McMahon to see whether there might be some economic development benefit to this. That is not panning out at all in terms of whether it would bring new dollars to our community. In fact, it would probably just cannibalize existing sales tax dollars in our community. The comment about protecting other businesses was anything but that. The comment was actually, why would we create a special exception solely for your two locations but nobody else could do it? That would seem to give you an unfair advantage. It was just the flip side of what the comment was. I would have pointed these things out had I been here, and I apologize to my colleagues for not being here to share with you the context, but two most important things. Number one, and I actually, by the way, spoke with Mr. McMahon at length again today, so I've shared everything that I'm sharing with you right now with him. including how I would have appreciated if he would have contacted either myself or Mr. Casa before he shared his comments with you. But we have been very responsive to him. We have spoken to him on numerous occasions over the last months. I suspect it's a situation where he's just not happy with the answer. So I want to just give you that context. So with that, I will end the mayor's report and move to item 11, the manager's report. David Fieldman.
No report tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to item 12, Enzo Petrarca, attorney's report.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Very good. Item 13, council member, new business. Do any members of the village council have any items of new business that they would like to share this evening or propose? Hearing none, then we will, we cannot adjourn tonight. We need to adjourn into executive session, so I will ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session for the reasons stated.
Mayor Tully, I move to convene into closed session pursuant to Section 2C2 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act to consider collective negotiating matters between the village and its employees or their representatives.
Second.
Any questions or comments from any members of the village council with respect to the motion? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please, April?
Commissioner Newstead?
Aye.
Commissioner Durkin?
Aye.
Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnett?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye.